one of the lead negotiators.
At this point, I'm not one of the lead negotiators. I'm a support person, but I've been lead negotiator over the last 3 years. There's several of us that move in and out of the position, so we give everybody a chance to.
What we're really looking at here is the past problem has been like in Brazil, for example, in the Amazon. A multinational corporation will come in and basically take over the land of native people, take away everything they have, take away their medicinal plants for pharmaceuticals, take away minerals, oil, whatever.
In the past, bioprospectors, people who look for to commercialize nature, have gone into places like the Amazon, like the tropics of Africa and Asia, and taken genetic resources from plants and animals and developed products, oftentimes worth billions, and asked no permission to do this, and shared no benefits with the peoples from whom those products were derived. They used both the genetic resources of those peoples and the traditional knowledge to provide leads to new medicines and new products. This treaty is attempting to regulate that, so that first that there will be the right of prior informed consent for access to traditional knowledge and genetic resources, and second, that when they are used, that indigenous peoples gain benefits from that use, and that use only occurs if they give permission. The indigenous peoples live in their homelands, and it's like somebody living in their own home. You own the property in your home, and if somebody came through your door and started to say, we would like that, we would like that, we would like that, and start to take it from you, you would probably be pretty upset. This is what has been happening in the world for a number of years as biotechnology expanded. Bioprospectors, people who come in looking for genes, who come looking in for medicines and so on, have been going into indigenous people's homes and taking all of the things that they hold precious and they hold valuable and that they hold as sacred.
This is called the ABS. What's that mean?
Well, it's called the International Regime on Access and Benefit Sharing, and the discussion started in 2000. It's an actual treaty that they had hoped to get finished here in Nagoya, Japan. So over the last 3 years, we've started going from discussions about issues to what's called text-based negotiations. So now we're negotiating legal text of an international treaty, and they are pushing to get it done here while we're in Nagoya. So there's a lot of pressure on states, on others to come to a conclusion. Unfortunately, there's still a lot of controversy among all the people involved over the nature and how this treaty should go.
If this treaty is passed, it's going to affect only 2/3 of the world's indigenous people, and how China and India fit in with the other third, and how that's going to work.
I would say approximately 2/3 of the world's people would receive some protection under this regime. That protection would be flawed and inadequate, most likely, in its current form. But yes, but 1/3 of the world's peoples would have trouble finding protection.
And that's in China and India?
In China and India.
You say concisely that 2/3 of the people in the world, roughly, are going to be protected by this if it's passed. The other third, China and India, there are complications, and there's no guarantee of that.
At this point of the negotiations, we have a lot of agreement that indigenous peoples and local communities have the right to control access to their knowledge. We do not have an agreement that they control access to their genetic resources. So that's an advance, but it does leave a lot of people out. Now, in terms of India and China, most nations of the world accept that they have indigenous peoples within their countries. Some nations, though, do not. Many nations accept that indigenous peoples own and control or own their knowledge, and they actually have the right to their genetic resources. But in the terms of India and China, they view that all traditional knowledge and all genetic resources are owned by the state. But there are kinds of knowledge. For example, you might think of traditional Chinese medicine or Ayurvedic medicine that are so widely spread that it would be very difficult to find a local community or an indigenous peoples that could say we're the only ones that have it. They're very widespread among millions of people. Access and benefit sharing refers to access to genetic resources and the products of those resources, like the molecules, the compounds, the medicines that they produce, and benefit sharing, the sharing of benefits from the use of those genetic resources. So when you talk about one set of issues is about controlling the access. The second set of issues is about sharing the benefits. I can say that if the current form goes forward, that it will likely only apply to those where the states recognize knowledge and resources owned by indigenous peoples and local communities. If China and India do not recognize that, they will not be protected under this regime. I think that people should be aware that the nation states are now trying to put property rights on life. And they're trying to divide up ownership of life, which from an indigenous point of view is not their worldview, is not the way they view the natural world and their relationship to Mother Nature. It's leading to some very big dilemmas and is commercializing nature to the extent that people are claiming ownership over bits of life. And they should consider that and start asking questions of their governments of why they're doing this and what they get out of it, and to say that they have a public trust to citizens in any nation to protect things that really should be for the common good of the citizens and for the common good of humankind. I would say remember that this treaty will not end, even if it's passed in Nagoya, it will not end here. This treaty will be further elaborated over the years, and that people should keep a close eye and ask questions of what is happening with these ideas. I think in the future we need to get back to protecting biodiversity for its own sake and for the things that it gives to us, rather than to think of it all as a commercial, a place for commerce and a place for economic development.
Ohana no e ka